Hello, everybody. This is Rick Mantei, and my person of interest today I'm going to talk about is a person that I knew fairly well, General Robin Olds. And I have to say that of all the aces I've met in my life, which is a lot of them, he is by far the, I don't know, most unusual. I mean, the guy kicked butt, did well. He was a maverick from day one in everything that he did. And I've always admired him. I thought he was one of the best guys. You know, he was the commandant of the Air Force Academy a few years before I was there. But his legend of things that he did were just, I can sit here and talk for hours about that. But anyway, he was born in 1922. He was born to a general officer in the Air Force. He was a bomber pilot, his dad was. And his mama died when he was 4 years old. He died in 2007. He was 84 years old when he died. They let him graduate from West Point in 3 years instead of 4 years because the guy wanted to go fight and they needed pilots. And so they, during the summers, they didn't have off. They just went through school and training and everything else for the 3 years that he was there. And from there, he went to Europe. He started off in P-38 fighters. And interestingly enough, when he was a young boy growing up, he went to Billy Mitchell's court-martial. He was like 5 or 6 years old, and he went there and watched that, which was pretty instrumental in the Air Force. No, I take that back. He was 8 years old. His first flight was also at 8 years old in an open cockpit biplane operated by his dad. He went to the West Point, but the academics, he was weak in academics, so he had to go to prep school before he could wind up going there. So anyway, he wound up having 3 children over his lifetime. He was only married to one gal, and that was a movie star at the time that he wound up marrying. And, they wound up getting divorced, and her name was Ella Raines, and they wound up getting divorced. He never remarried after that. In World War II, he shot down 12 airplanes in P-38s, and then he was also an ace in P-51s. So they were split between those 2 airplanes. He was the only ace in that conflict, World War II, that was an ace in 2 different airplanes. And of course, that's what he did. He had a hard time at West Point. He graduated about halfway in the class whenever, he was, the graduation was to occur. The flights that he flew over there, he was right in the thick of things, and he was right there when all the hardest flying was going on in 43 and 44. And so, to say that I didn't respect him from all that would be an understatement. He also shot up another 11 and a half airplanes on the ground. You don't get those to count for being an ace, but they do count for, aircraft destroyed, because of course he did. And of course, in Vietnam, where he tried to get into Korea, they wouldn't let him go into Korea. He was a maverick, and he was a hard-charging guy. He intimidated people because he was big, he was strong, and he was highly ranked at an early age. He had all these silver stars. He just blew everybody away, and rubbed people the wrong way by virtue of the way that he acted. He did an operation called Operation Bolo in Vietnam. He did get into Vietnam. They were a little bit more desperate for pilots in Vietnam than they were in Korea. And he took a squadron that wasn't really kind of down on their luck. And he did this operation called Operation Bolo, where they took these F-4s. This was in 66, and they went, 67 rather, and they went into North Vietnam. North Vietnam had some brand new MiG-21s, which was the hottest fighter that the Russians had at that time. And they had 18 of them that they had just gotten into Hanoi, and all the guys were scared to death of this airplane because this thing was supposed to be 6 feet tall and spitting bullets, and everybody was afraid of that plane. Well, he did this ruse where he took these F-4 Phantoms and they acted like they were bombers, F-105 bombers. They used the same call signs, the same flights, came out of the same bases. They went to the same tankers. They did everything just like the bombers. And so the North Vietnamese thought that these were bombers coming in to bomb them. Well, it was a trap. And Olds had these F-4s, which was our hottest fighter at the time, coming in. And they launched their 18. They only had 18. They launched their 18 MiG-21s at the flight, and they shot down half of them. And they didn't lose any F-4s, and they shot down half of their brand new MiG-21s. And for months and months after that flight, They did very little. They got licked pretty bad, and for months after that, they didn't come up very much and bother our guys while they were in there bombing different sites in and around Hanoi. That's one of the things that he had a lot of fame for. He flew a total of 259 combat missions, 107 of them in World War II and 152 in Southeast Asia. I flew 38 to put it in perspective, and I feel like a weenie, compared to what this guy did. It was just, but it was a different time, a different war. And after the war, he came back to the States. They made him the commandant out at the Air Force Academy, and that's where I learned a lot about him when I was out there. He was instrumental in the River Rats, which is an organization of fighter pilots that have flown in combat, and they had fundraisers and all kinds of endeavors to raise money for the pilots' kids who had no money. Their parents got killed, the mom and dad got killed, and so they raised money for them. And that's how I got to meet him personally and have a good number of interactions with him. He was a great guy. He died in 2007, and he is sorely missed. So anyway, until next time, you guys take care.